Welcome to the Steps in Purpose podcast with Edie Ann. This podcast explores emotional awareness, faith, and purposeful living through short, reflective conversations designed to help you notice where you are and take your next step with clarity. Thanks for being here. Have you ever looked at something in your life and thought, oh, that is for sure done, only to realize later that God was still growing something underneath the surface? Today, I want to share a story about my plants. And yes, I know that sounds simple and might even sound a little funny, but lately, my plants have been preaching to me in the quietest, most beautiful way. You see, I've planted lilacs for almost 2 decades, and either the cold got them or maybe the deer. Well, the last time I planted 2 lilac trees in my yard, they got mowed over, like completely mulched. To the eye, it looked like they were gone. It looked like the story was finished. I may have even cried. But then, there they were again, sprouting. Just a little, but still growing, still reaching, still alive. A little confusing. And every time I look at them, I think about how many times life has done that to us. How many times we've felt cut down by circumstances, by disappointment, by grief, pain, exhaustion, or words that were spoken over us. There were parts of our lives where it looked like everything that was beautiful had been taken right down to the ground. But growth does not always end when something gets cut back. Sometimes the roots are still strong. Sometimes what looks like loss is just a little reset. Sometimes what looks like gone is really God saying, there's still life here. Well, then there's my lupins. Oh, the lupins. For 5 years, I planted. I waited for them to grow. I would replant lupins from other yards. I would spread seeds. I would plant seeds. I would replant plants. And I would wait. And I would replant. I would look. I would hope. I would probably stare at the ground like a woman trying to manifest a flower with sheer determination. And still, nothing happened. Then, finally, year 6, after all that waiting, I got one lupin. I was so excited. It grew. I got one lupin. And then the next year I got 2. And the next year there were 4. That part gets me too, because some things in life take longer than we expected. We plant seeds of faith, healing, love, forgiveness, obedience, and purpose. And then we wonder why we're starting at dirt or staring at dirt for so long. What's happening? But dirt is where seeds do their most important work. We love the bloom because the bloom is visible. The bloom is proof. The bloom is colorful. The bloom gives us something to point to and say, see, it worked. But God does much more in the hidden places. The waiting season matters. The quiet season matters. Those times where it looks like nothing is happening, that time still matters. Those lupins remind me that timing belongs to God, not me. My job is to keep tending what He places in my care. And then there's my indoor plants. That's a whole other story. I got one as a gift once. It was shipped to me in the mail. Came to me frozen, dead winter. It looked rough, super rough. It looked like they had been through a whole dramatic lifetime before it even got to me. But now, it's 4 feet tall. 4 feet tall. From frozen to flourishing. That is a whole testimony sitting in a pot by my window. That plant reminds me that our beginning condition does not get the final say. We can come through seasons that leave us stunned, scarred, shocked, tired. We can arrive in a new season carrying evidence of what we went through, and still, with the right light, the right care, the right environment, the right people, the right amount of time, we can grow. I think sometimes we judge ourselves by the condition we were in when we arrived. We say things like, I should be further along. But maybe God's looking at us with so much compassion saying, look how far you've already come. Look how much you've already grown. That little frozen plant becoming 4 feet tall did not become that overnight. It needed care. It needed warmth. It needed consistency. It needed time to adjust to a new, safe environment. And so do we. Healing often looks like learning how to receive care again. Growth often looks like learning how to stand in that light again. And purpose often looks like trusting that the roots are working even when the bloom hasn't shown up yet. That's why these plants feel like more than plants to me. They're living reminders of that resilience, the faith, the patience, and God's quiet faithfulness. The lilacs say, you can cut back, but you can still grow. The lupins say, you can wait a long time, but you can still bloom. And my indoor plant, you can arrive frozen, but you can still flourish. And maybe that is the message for us today. Your story is going to have seasons where you felt mowed over. Your story is going to have seasons where you waited and wondered when anything was going to change. And your story is going to have seasons when you felt frozen from the life that was handed you. But God is still the God of roots, seeds, soil, light, warmth, and time. He sees what is still alive in you. He sees what is forming beneath the surface. He sees that bloom before you do. And maybe the next step is to stop measuring your growth only by what is visible today. Maybe the next step is to look back with compassion and realize that you are still here. You're still growing, and you're still reaching toward that light. That matters. You matter. Your growth matters, even in the quiet spaces. So today, look at your own life like a little garden. What's been cut back and still has life in it? What seed have you been waiting on? What part of you needs warmth? care and light again. Because, friend, God grows beautiful things in unexpected ways, and sometimes the plant you thought was finished becomes the one that tells the best story. If you want any more encouragement like this, you can go to my website at edn.com. But I need you to know that your next step matters. Thanks for spending this time with me. Until next time, keep stepping in purpose.